We've reached the point in the year where the amount of jobs that I have to do and the amount of hours in the day just really don't seem to line up very well. And when that happens, the only thing that I can really do is prioritize everything that needs to get done and then just start chipping away at that list. In the last video, I tore out this little section of fence here because the posts were rotted off terribly bad. And I think I'm gonna move this to the top of the priority list because I don't like having holes in my perimeter fence. And security reasons aside, I need to put the cows out in this pasture because you can see it's getting overgrown and headed out, and they've been letting me know that they're ready to move. So we're gonna tackle this first thing this morning, and then we will move on down the priority list. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. Well, that was certainly easier. I thought that I could just dig this one by hand real quick because there's already a hole there. I just really needed to widen it up a little bit to fit the 4x6 post. But when I started trying to do that, there's a bunch of roots and stuff down there, and that just makes digging a nightmare. Probably not as bad as rocks, but still pretty bad. Now just clean it out a little, and we'll set our post. Good morning to you two. See that? I don't have a bottle. They don't even want to say hi. Ugh. Two of them's kind of heavy. Where can you guys go? Right here. How about? Well, you know, I just got to thinking. So I was getting all set up to put this post in the ground, get it all plumb packed in, dig the next hole, set the next post. But if I do all that, then I can't drive the tractor out through the way I came in. I'd have to go around through the corral, I'd have to battle gates and cows and all that. So I think the smarter thing to do here is figure out where the next two holes are gonna go, dig them, then get the tractor out of here, then go through and set posts. This one's not digging too good. I think there might still be some old pieces of post down here because I'm trying to put this in the exact same spot. So it was pretty rotten. I'm hoping that the digger will just grind through it, but we might need to clean it off first. Sometimes your cutting edge gets, you know, roots or whatever wrapped around it, and when that happens, they don't dig near as good as they normally do. Clean it off and try it again. But yeah, you can see little bits of wood and stuff in this hole. So I don't know, this may not work. We might just have to move the hole over, or I don't know, think of something. I shut the camera off because I wasn't really making any progress, and wouldn't you know, I finally got it to break through. So we got through whatever was stopping it, whether it was an old post or hard ground or what it was. So now we just got one more. Aren't I glad I didn't try to dig that one by hand? Forgot to grab a guide string that I would use to stretch between these two posts, and then I could get the new posts right in line. So instead of running back home and getting that, I think what I'll do is just stretch this bottom wire that will eventually be on the fence, and I'll just use that as a guide string. Kind of a tricky thing keeping all these wires here and not getting them all tangled up. You might notice that I'm using barbless wire here. If you look around this property, every fence is fenced in with traditional barbed wire. And for many years, I thought that is what you needed. But as time goes on, I'm kind of changing my opinion about this. You see, I've never seen a barbed wire fence that a cow still didn't just reach their head through and pick grass on the other side. Really, the only fence that prevents that from happening is an electric fence. So I don't feel like barbed wire is really effective as a deterrent for animals like rubbing on the fence or reaching through the fence. But what it certainly does do is if like a calf or a cow happens to run through a fence, it cuts their nose up, cuts their face up, really just it can be pretty nasty stuff. So I'm just gonna try putting barbless wire here in this corner, and I'll just kind of see if I can tell any difference. I want to make sure my wire splice doesn't end up right where a post is going to be, which is probably what would happen if I didn't cut this one down. So I think we'll cut it maybe about right here, and we'll cut this one, you know, long enough to join up to it. What do you think, buddy? Oh, you're gonna knock that over for me? What a guy, what a guy. They're cows. They can't help themselves. They see something new, they gotta rub on it. A little bit. It's pretty close. The hard part is done. Now we just got to get the wire stretched back up, get the boards attached, and cut the tops of these posts off. And also, I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but these boards that are on the fence already are not horizontal. They sag down a little bit because the old posts were so much shorter. So we got to take the nails out of the first existing post here, get these boards leveled up, and then we can attach them to the new post. Right there, looks perfect. Boy, that's got to bend a lot, doesn't it? This is looking better, but it's still not perfect. And the reason is that the first white post down there is like way out of the fence line. I am not sure how that happened. I can't imagine that I put that post that far out of straight, and that maybe just over the years cows pushing on it or whatever happened, but it's way out of line. The new posts are in line with the rest of the fence, so that part's all good. But what I'm getting at is that in order to screw the boards into the new posts, they have to bend quite a lot to make that happen. So things are looking a little bit weird here, I guess, but you know, it'll work. Same process for the next two. Guess that'll be tight enough. There's one. If you've got a helper, you don't need to do this part, but since I'm working by myself, what I do is I just put a screw in where the bottom of the board is going to be. I don't put it all the way in, just enough to hold itself in place. So now when I go to set my boards up, I've got basically something to hold this end. I can go down to the other end, figure out where level is, screw it in while this is holding it, and then go back and just attach it. Yeah, just attach it. That's, I'm not sure of a better way to say that. How everything fits. Down to the third and final board, and I've encountered a bit of a problem, and that is apparently I did not put this post in exactly the same spot as the old one. I thought that I did. I know I was pulling up wood chunks when I dug the hole, so it's awful close, but it's off by just enough so that one of these boards isn't going to fit. See, this middle rail was split into two boards because I'm guessing one broke at some point. So because it's really not worth it to run to town to get one board just to do this, I've got a short section of 2x6 here. I'm just going to scab these old two together, and then we can call this done. To minimize the amount of things that I got to hold on to, I like to drill my pilot holes first and then just get these screws started in the hole so that I don't drop them or lose them or anything, and when I am ready to drive them into the board, they're ready to go. Maybe I don't need one. That looks pretty straight. Well, let's see how straight I can cut here. I think we're going to do away with this tree while we're here as well. Timber. Well, I'm happy enough with this. It's certainly better than it was before with all the broken off posts, and it's certainly better than it was this morning with no fence here at all. But you guys know, these kind of repairs, they just, you know, they wear on me. I don't like doing things that way, but in this case, it's better to just have this done. And I don't think I really gave up anything here because, you know, the boards are not really what is keeping the cows in. The wire is. When people are driving down the road at 90 miles an hour, they'll never be able to see this. And when the bush grows in here, we won't be able to see it either. We'll see if they get excited about that. leave it to a calf. And of course the bull's got to see what's going on. They always get excited when something's happening. Hey kids, go that way. Come on now. You can figure this out. No, I guess you can't. Oh my goodness. I should probably know better and not even bother walking down here to get these calves. If I wait long enough, they'll find the gate, because right now they're pretty bound and determined to go everywhere except the gate. Pretty typical of calves. But I really just want to get everybody moved, get the gates closed, and not have to worry about coming back to do that. You gonna run all the way to the end? It won't surprise me if he does. Come in here. You're a little easier to manage than the other calves. Well, that ought to keep them happy for a few days. Had to sit down and take a little break here in the barn, get my water filled up. You know, it's getting hot. It's starting to feel like summer. This time of year when it's just starting to get hot, I guess it just takes me a while to get acclimated to it because it just zaps me. I think today only topped out in the low 90s, and you know, like in the middle of July, I would consider that a pretty cool day. But when your body's just used to like topping out in the 70s, well, 90 feels pretty darn hot. So I think the next thing that I want to get started on today, and I know that I probably won't have enough time to finish it, but I'd like to put the box scraper back on the tractor and start scraping out this corral. Well, I actually got a pretty big chunk out of this, more than I thought I would get done. And I think that I'll probably let it dry for a few days. It was surprisingly wet down below and soft in a couple of spots, which really surprised me. But we'll let it dry out a little bit more and I'll probably hit it again. Either way, it's about 100 times better than it was. Still need to get back here on the entrance to the working corral. This will be an important area that I want smooth. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be asking, why am I not piling this up, putting it in the manure spreader and spreading it out in the field? And the answer is that I would like to do that, but I've got to be careful out here because there's a bunch of these asphalt chunks in this ground, and those don't go through the manure spreader very well. Ask me how I know. And then down here on the low ground, again, this is good stuff, but you've got like a bunch of rocks in it, and I don't really want to spread those out in the field. I guess it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It'd be, you know, not as bad as the big chunks. But what I'm thinking is that everything in the barn here and on the concrete slab should be fair game for the manure spreader. So we're chipping away at things little by little. Sometimes that's the best you can do. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.